At the start of the story, we meet Rafi, a 36-year-old woman who recently got divorced from her husband and is now living alone in New York. Rafi works as a modeling photographer. Since the divorce, she's been feeling really lonely, but she's trying to move past the pain and get her life back on track. Every week, she goes to see her therapist, Lisa, for counseling. Lisa helps her deal with her mental struggles and relationship issues. Over time, Rafi and Lisa have developed a friendly bond. Rafi openly shares her personal issues and worries. Lisa tells her that it takes time to get over a broken relationship and advises her to meet new people and start living a fresh life. Then, we see a guy named David, who is 22 years old. He lives with his grandparents, while his parents and younger sister live in another house near the city. Even though they live apart, their family bond is pretty strong. David is a painter, but he hasn't had any major success in his career yet. David is at home when his friend calls him to hang out, and they both drive to a girl's house. This is the girl who had ignored David's friend after their first date. David's friend rings the doorbell, and as soon as the girl comes out, he throws a cake in her face. The angry girl calls her brothers outside, but David and his friend quickly jump into the car and drive off. That same night, David goes on a movie date with another girl, where he runs into someone he knows. He introduces her to his two friends, one of whom is Rafi. David and Rafi are instantly attracted to each other. When David goes to the bathroom, he sees Rafi outside, and they talk for a while. David asks Rafi for her number, and she gives it to him. The next day, David calls Rafi to ask her out to dinner, but it takes him a bit of time to work up the courage. Finally, he calls and invites her to dinner. She agrees because she likes David. It felt good talking like that. At night, David picks her up from her apartment, and they go out for dinner together, trying to get to know each other better. After dinner, they buy some beer from a shop and walk around chatting. Rafi tells David she's 36. He asks how old he is, and when David says 22, Rafi is surprised because she didn't expect him to be that young. Seeing such a big age gap, Rafi feels like they probably shouldn't date. But David tells her that age is just a number, and he wants to give their relationship a chance. Then he takes Rafi to a garden where they drink beer. Rafi tells David that she hasn't felt this happy in a long time and really enjoyed spending time with him. Hearing this, David kisses her. After that, Rafi meets David again, and they hang out together. Later, when Rafi goes to see her therapist Lisa for her next counseling session, she excitedly tells her that she's dating a guy and he's really great. When I'm with him, I feel happy, but he's a little younger than me. Lisa asks, how old is he? Rafi lies and says David is 27. Then she tells Lisa, I'm not sure if I should take this relationship further or not. Seeing her happy, Lisa tells her she doesn't need to worry so much about the age difference because she thinks this new relationship might help Rafi move on from her past pain. After that, David comes to meet his mum. So, it turns out his mum is Lisa, who happens to be Rafi's therapist. David tells Lisa that he's dating a girl, and when Lisa finds out the girl isn't Jewish, she gets worried because their family takes religion very seriously. They want David to only date Jewish girls since marrying someone from another religion could cause religious and family conflicts. David says the girl is a bit older than him, but he lies and says she's 27. Since it was the new year, Lisa got even more worried. She still didn't know that the guy Rafi was talking about was none other than her own son, David. After that, Lisa tells her husband about David, and they discuss how they can convince their son to be with a Jewish girl instead of someone much older like Rafi. The next day, when David visits Rafi's apartment, they talk about music and art. Then David kisses Rafi, and they grow closer to each other. After that, their relationship grows deeper, and they start developing an emotional bond. Living with David, Rafi slowly begins to heal from her pain and restlessness because of his innocence, passion, and true love. The next day, David meets his friend and tells him that he's fallen in love with Rafi. That very night, David goes to Rafi's place, and they get physically close. Later, when Rafi has her next session with Lisa, she's excitedly sharing more about David, and for the first time, she reveals his real age. She says she hid David's real age at first because she felt a bit awkward about the age difference between them. She also mentions that David is a painter and his family doesn't support his profession. Hearing this, Lisa is surprised, and when she asks where David lives, Rafi tells her. That's when Lisa realizes that Rafi's boyfriend is none other than her own son. Shocked by this, Lisa cuts the session short and says, "You should go now, we'll talk another day." She finds herself in a tough spot. On one hand, she's Rafi's therapist. On the other, she's David's mom. She has to decide whether to act professionally and fulfill her responsibility or step in like a mother and interfere in their relationship. A friend tells her that David is still young and immature and their relationship won't last long. But when Lisa sees that Rafi is genuinely happier since David came into her life, she can't bring herself to say that the guy Rafi is dating is none other than her own son. So, without saying a word, Lisa decides to keep playing her role as a professional therapist. After that, David takes Rafi outside to her favorite spot. There, on the wall of the room, David has hung a big painting by her favorite artist and arranged a candlelight dinner just for her. Seeing all this, Rafi becomes really happy, and they have dinner together. From then on, David and Rafi start spending most of their time together, and both feel happy in their relationship. Next time Rafi meets Lisa for their session, she opens up about David, how much she loves him, and how happy she is with him. Hearing this, Lisa feels a bit uncomfortable inside. Rafi then asks Lisa if she should take her relationship with David to the next level. Lisa replies that it's totally her personal decision. Meanwhile, David finds out that some relatives are coming to his grandparents' place and will stay there for a week, so he'll be staying at his parents' house for a while. He's told to go and stay there, but he doesn't want to go, plus he already quit his job. So David decides to stay with Rafi so they can spend more time together. He packs his clothes from home and lies to Lisa, saying he's going to stay at a friend's place. Then he moves into Rafi's apartment, which makes Rafi really happy. At night, they go to a club where they dance and have drinks. After that, David takes Rafi to his grandparents' house. Rafi finds out that David actually lives with his grandparents, even though he had told her before that he stays with friends. At that time, the grandparents are sleeping in another room, and David sneaks Rafi into his room to show her his paintings for the first time. Rafi is really impressed and tells him that he should make this his career. A little while later, Rafi meets Lisa again for a session and tells her that David is now living with her. Hearing this, Lisa gets even more worried as a mother. Usually she can't accept the relationship between her 22-year-old son and the 36-year-old divorced woman. But as a therapist, she has to respect her client's choices. Meanwhile, whenever Rafi comes home from work, she sees David spending all day playing video games and leaving the house messy. David's careless behavior starts to bother Rafi. So, she tells a friend who owns an art gallery, "My boyfriend David paints really amazing paintings. You'll definitely like his work." But the friend replies, "Okay, I'll definitely come to see you in a few days." After that, when Rafi meets Lisa, she says, "After staying with David for a few days, I realized he's really careless. I don't think our relationship will last." Now, Lisa can't hide the truth from Rafi anymore and says, "The guy you're dating is my son, and I've known about it for a long time." Hearing this, Rafi gets shocked and angry. She leaves from there. Rafi comes back to her apartment and says to David, "Your mum is my therapist. Why didn't she tell me earlier that you're her son? I used to share my personal stuff with her, and she betrayed my trust." Hearing this, David was shocked. He calls Lisa and angrily argues with her, saying, "If you knew Rafi was dating me, why didn't you tell her?" Lisa says, "I couldn't do it for Rafi's own good. I didn't have the courage to tell her." She adds, "Rafi is way older than you, and I think you should leave her." But David replies, "I love her. I know what's right for me." The next day, David invites his friend over to Rafi's apartment so they can hang out and have some drinks. But Rafi comes home early, and David panics, hiding his friend in the closet because Rafi had told him not to bring anyone home. As soon as Rafi spots David's friend in the closet, she yells at David in anger. She says, "You don't do any work around here. You act like a kid. You spend the whole day playing video games." They have a big argument, and David storms out of the house. That night, David meets Rafi outside and apologizes. Rafi says they should end their relationship now. There's just too much difference between them. She thinks David is still a bit immature and can't take responsibility. She breaks up with him and walks away. David is heartbroken and moves in with his grandparents. A few days later, Rafi's friend from the art gallery comes to see David. He gets impressed by David's paintings and ends up buying 2 of them at good prices. He even wants to set up an art show. Using that money, David rents an apartment and gets serious about his career. But he still can't get Rafi out of his mind. He calls her, but she doesn't pick up. Meanwhile, Rafi is alone and feeling emotional. Seeing David down, his friend takes him to a club. There, David drinks a lot. At the club, he meets a girl and brings her back to his apartment. They get physically close again. The next morning, when David wakes up, he feels really ashamed of what he did while he was drunk because he still can't forget Rafi. David finds out from that girl that she's actually Rafi's colleague. This makes him feel really bad. A few days later, David and Rafi run into each other at a store. They both realize they still haven't forgotten each other. Rafi takes David back to her apartment, and they get close again. After that, David talks to his mom, and he manages to convince Rafi to come over for dinner that night. The whole family is gathered around the dinner table, and Rafi joins them too. At first, everyone feels a bit awkward, but gradually the atmosphere starts to relax. Lisa and Rafi's relationship begins to improve again. But no one in David's family wants Rafi and David to get back together. While Rafi is at work, she finds out that David slept with one of his colleagues. This breaks her from within, and she ends things with David. David then talks to his mum. She explains to him that she understands his love for Rafi, but sometimes good things come to an end. Although David doesn't want to leave Rafi, he goes to see her, just as she's coming home from work. David apologizes to her. Rafi is completely attached to David, and it's really hard for her to stay away from him. So she forgives David's mistake once again, and they get intimate again. Rafi realizes that David's love for her is very deep, but David is much younger than her. Their religions are different. There are a lot of differences between them, and if she becomes a mother in the future, it could affect David's career. Rafi wants to start a family with David, but she knows he's not ready for that. She explains to David that love alone isn't enough to keep a relationship going, and that it's better for them to part ways. David understands her, and they separate by mutual agreement. A year later, David sees Rafi sitting at a table with her friends in a restaurant. Rafi notices him too. Their eyes meet. They meet each other and both smile. Then David leaves from there. Now, both of them are trying to move on with their lives, forgetting each other. This movie shows us that love alone isn't enough. In a relationship, age, timing, mindset, and responsibilities also matter a lot. And sometimes, the right person comes into your life at the wrong time. And with this, the movie ends. Friends, does age difference really matter that much in a relationship? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Like and share, subscribe to this channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any upcoming videos. See you in the next one. Till then, bye-bye, take care.